She is still at the White House with Donald Trump discussing very important issues.
After the chaos that exploded at the 2026 Grammys, Nicki finally lost her cool, and what she dropped on Jay-Z had the entire music world spinning. The moment hit the internet and fans couldn't believe what they were seeing. She's claiming that Jigga and Queen Bee tried to pull off some slick behind-the-scenes power move, working angles and making shady plays in secret. People are saying they were trying to box her out of something major. And when that clip surfaced, everything turned wild.
Someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X. And I guarantee you, if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
Yeah, I agree. Lauren would get the first details as soon as it hit the court.
I would be at court for that.
The night that was supposed to be about celebrating music turned into straight drama. The 2026 Grammy Awards had everything lined up perfectly. The biggest stars, the flashiest fits, the whole world watching. On February 2nd, 2026, Trevor Noah came through to host his sixth and final show, promising to make it unforgettable. The crowd was vibing, energy sky high, lights blazing, until one joke hit different, flipping the entire night upside down. The camera started sweeping across the crowd, and you could literally see every reaction unfold in real time. Some people let out these awkward laughs trying to play it cool, while others just sat there tight-faced, clearly uncomfortable. But then, boom, what happened next had the entire internet losing its mind. The crowd went wild.
John Legend, Billie Eilish, Phineas, Nicki Minaj is not here. She is not here. She is...
Chrissy Teigen got caught on camera throwing a big thumbs up, clearly hyped that Nicki Minaj wasn't even in the building. John Legend was right beside her, smiling like he knew something. The audience started cheering, celebrating her absence like it was part of the show, and that moment had everyone talking. Think about that for a sec. The crowd at one of music's most prestigious award shows was cheering because one of hip-hop's most decorated female MCs wasn't there. That's wild. But Trevor Noah wasn't finished stirring things up yet. He kept going with his jokes and dropped what fans called a dead-on impression of former President Donald Trump, and the reactions were split all over again.
And he did campaign for Barack Obama crazy.
He did for Barack Obama.
He did a verse on My President is Black, but he definitely was out there for Barack.
The joke Trevor cracked was about Nicki showing up in Washington, D.C. just days before the Grammys, where she was spotted hanging out with President Trump. She even posed for pictures and said straight up that she was his #1 fan. Then she flashed what she called her gold card visa, acting like it was some kind of special pass. She'd been having talks with U.S. officials about serious topics like the issues facing Nigerian Christians. But Hollywood flipped it and turned her into the punchline. Nobody in that crowd could have guessed that this one moment would spark one of the wildest rants the music world had seen in years. Nicki Minaj didn't hold back. She started dropping post after post during the show, blasting out nearly 24 updates while the Grammys were still live. While artists were on stage accepting awards and performing their hearts out, all anyone could focus on was Nicki's feed. She had completely hijacked the night's entire online conversation. It was Nicki versus everybody.
I just think that when you criticize somebody for what they are doing or haven't done for a community, whatever her argument is, you have to be doing equal or more. Because that would be my question, right? Yeah. Well, if I'm not doing anything, then what are you doing?
Nicki didn't hold anything back. She went straight to calling the Grammys a ritual, writing that God Almighty would reveal himself to them. Then she declared that every tongue that rises up against her in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. But that was just the warm-up. What came next had the entire industry in pure shock. Nicki started dropping throwback photos, old school receipts that had everyone glued to their screens. She posted pictures allegedly showing Jay-Z with Aaliyah back when she was still in her mid-teens and he was already in his late 20s. Then she followed it up with vintage shots of a young Beyonce and Jay-Z from the late 90s, suggesting that there was way more going on behind the scenes than people ever knew. She was coming with some heavy accusations about age gaps and calling him out publicly in front of millions. No sugarcoating, no hesitation. The media went into full panic mode trying to catch up.
So, over the weekend, Beyonce took her tour to Paris, and of course, all of the celebrities popped out, but one of the biggest names that people were excited to see.
Forbes called it a full-on MAGA rant, while Boss labeled her post Democrat delusions. Rolling Out said she had completely hijacked the Grammys, and the craziest part, Nicki Minaj ended up becoming the most searched artist in the entire world that night, even outshining the Grammys themselves. Every single artist who walked away with a Grammy that night got completely overshadowed online by someone who wasn't even there. Nicki Minaj proved she could run the entire show from 3,000 miles away.
He's at every tour stop, but JayZ actually came out on stage with Beyonce in Paris. Now, this is a big deal for several reasons. It has been 7 years since they have performed on stage together.
No red carpet, no performance, no invite, yet she owned the whole conversation. That's not just star power, that's real influence. And that's exactly why some powerful people in the industry were trying so hard to silence her. But let's be real, this Grammy night blow-up didn't just happen out of nowhere. This was years of pressure, frustration, and industry drama finally bursting open. It was the fallout of long-standing business beef that had been simmering for nearly a decade, and now it was personal. Nicki wasn't holding back anymore. She was ready to call everyone out. The Grammy crowd might have laughed, cheered, and thrown up thumbs-ups when her name got dragged, thinking she was out of the picture. But what they didn't know was that Nicki Minaj was about to flip the script completely. She was ready to drop truths that certain powerful people in music had been praying would never see the light of day.
In the music industry.
I want to say, but it would be so real that I can't.
Nicki didn't waste a second. She went straight at Chrissy Teigen for that thumbs-up moment caught on camera. Then she made a wild claim about Chrissy that instantly set social media on fire. After that, she fired at Lizzo, saying she lost 300 pounds just to sell 300 albums, throwing pure shade with zero hesitation. And she didn't stop there. Nicki even called out Trevor Noah, saying he was hiding parts of his personal life that everyone in the industry already knew about. But those names were just warm-ups. Her real focus was Jay-Z. Nicki went all in, saying he owed her hundreds of millions of dollars and accusing him of wrecking multiple industries in the process. She kept mentioning his name over and over, like she wanted to make sure nobody missed who she was talking about. Nicki told her fans to open their eyes, claiming these people were involved in dark business moves just to keep their power. She told her followers to think twice about their political choices, saying that if they truly knew what was happening, they'd never vote Democrat again. Then she hinted that she was finally ready to tell her side, teasing that it might be time for some serious story times to spill everything she'd been holding back.
Actually, Nicki, I have the biggest I have it. Everybody's saying it, Nicki. I know they say it's you, but it's me. Wop, wop, wop. Look at it, baby.
And just when everyone thought she was done, Nicki dropped a business announcement so big that it shook the entire industry to its core. Nobody saw it coming. 6-piece. She declared she would not be dropping an album until her contract is renegotiated and until she tells everybody about the sabotage. She mentioned a RICO situation. She referenced finding out about Billboard manipulation. This was not just personal beef anymore, fam. This was a full-on declaration of war against the entire industry machine. The night that was supposed to celebrate music became the night that exposed the ugly underbelly of the entertainment world. And Nicki Minaj was just getting warmed up the bag they owe her and the system trying to silence her. So to really understand why Nicki Minaj went off on Grammy night, you gotta go back to 2015. That was the year Jay-Z launched Tidal, his streaming service that was supposed to change the whole game for how artists got paid. Nicki Minaj was one of the original artist partners on the platform, and she got a reported 3% equity stake in exchange for promo and content. She pulled up to the launch event, she posed with Jay-Z, and then there was Beyonce. She went all in promoting that platform to her massive fan base. Nobody pushed it harder than her, well, except for Jay-Z himself. Back then, it looked like a movement.
So in a series of tweets, Nicki Minaj is claiming that Jay-Z owes her 100 to 200 million so far. Dear hashtag Jay-Z.
Artists taking control of their music and building something big together. But when 2021 hit, Jay-Z sold Tidal to Square for a whopping $302 million. That should have been a huge win for all the artist partners who helped build that empire from the ground up. But according to Nicki, things didn't go down the way everyone thought. She claims she got a call saying there was no real payout from the deal, that the artists supposedly made nothing. Then she said they offered her just $1 million to stay quiet about it all. $1 million to hush up? Nicki wasn't having that, not even close.
You ruined hip-hop, you ruined football, you ruined basketball, you ruined touring, you ruined Instagram, you ruined Twitter. The jig is up. Well, she felt like Lil Wayne. She feels like Lil Wayne should have been the performer at the Super Bowl in New Orleans.
Fast forward to July 2025, she finally decided to air it all out. Nicki jumped on social media saying the numbers were way off and that they'd actually made somewhere between $100 to $200 million. She demanded that Jay-Z settle what she called his karmic debt, warning that it was only stacking up more interest. And even while calling him out, she slipped in a slick line saying he was still in her top 5, a compliment wrapped in a straight-up demand for what she said was hers. But the money was just the surface. Nicki started taking things way deeper than business drama. She began firing off wild claims that went far beyond contracts and checks, accusing Jay-Z and Roc Nation of ruining hip-hop, football, basketball, touring, Instagram, and even Twitter. That's a wild list, right? Like, how could one man or one company have that much control over so many worlds at once? According to Nicki, it all connected in ways most people couldn't see, and she was ready to spell it out. The football accusation, though, really grabbed attention. It tied back to one of the most talked about Super Bowl moments ever, when Kendrick Lamar was picked to headline the 2025 halftime show in New Orleans. Fans expected Lil Wayne, the city's own icon, to take that spot, but when he didn't, people were furious. Nicki jumped in, blasting Jay-Z for what she called a major snub, and that's when things really started heating up. Nicki didn't hold back when it came to defending Wayne either. She said Jay-Z was blocking a young black man from what he rightfully earned, all because of ego. According to her, Jay had long-standing beefs with Birdman, Drake, and even herself, and now she claimed he was taking it out on Wayne too. Then Nicki took things up another level, saying her own music was being silenced on purpose. She claimed her feature on Lil Wayne's Carter 6 album was getting buried by industry powers who didn't want it to shine. The track, called Being From In On It, had her spitting bars about the NFL firing people, then trying to bring them back later, a not-so-subtle jab at the whole Super Bowl controversy. She didn't stop there either.
So she said, they don't want you to see it when I'm liking, so that feature was demolished. Listening devices, cameras, car tags, pages you don't follow under the following section of X.
Nicki tweeted that her likes weren't showing up properly, saying, they don't want fans to see what I support. She said her features were getting demolished before release and even dropped some chilling claims about listening devices, cameras, car tags, and people's pages being watched. Fans were left stunned, trying to figure out how deep this whole thing really went. Nicki told her barbs to keep everything, every message, every post, every screenshot, especially whenever they got flagged or suspended online. She started retweeting fan theories claiming Jay-Z had deeper ties to social media platforms than people realized, especially after he reportedly got involved when Twitter was sold to Jack Dorsey. Nicki hinted that her fans were being silenced on purpose, saying some of them noticed their tweets, especially the ones defending her or using her song's hashtag, were getting buried by the algorithm. But here's the thing, that raised a huge question. If Roc Nation really had that much control over social media, why couldn't they stop negative stories about themselves from spreading too? The hosts of The Breakfast Club brought that up when they broke down the situation, saying if they could suppress anything, wouldn't they block their own bad press first? It's a fair question, and it made a lot of people stop and think. Still, the timing of everything had fans side-eyeing the whole situation. Just days after all this drama started swirling, Jay-Z made a surprise appearance at Beyonce's tour stop in Paris, stepping on stage with her for the first time in 7 years. The second he walked out and Crazy in Love started playing, the crowd lost it completely. Cameras flashed, fans screamed, and the internet exploded all over again. Jay-Z hit the Paris stage and performed a joint with Beyonce, but fans quickly started whispering that the timing wasn't random at all. Many believed it was a carefully planned distraction from Nicki's explosive allegations that same weekend. The internet was split. Some saw it as a coincidence, while others swore it was a strategic move to shift the spotlight. Nicki didn't slow down either. She came straight for Desiree Perez, the CEO of Roc Nation. Nicki gave her the nickname Day and accused her of doing some shady things to black artists in the business. Then she fired off another jab, asking why Perez wasn't marching with her fellow Mexican immigrants, before catching herself and clarifying that Perez is actually Cuban. Nicki reminded everyone that Perez had been pardoned by former President Trump, saying that made it hard for her to criticize that administration now. And yeah, Perez's past definitely added more fuel to the drama. She was reportedly charged back in 1994 for conspiracy to distribute a large amount of an illegal substance. Reports say she later cooperated with federal prosecutors, which got her labeled a snitch by some people in the industry. After serving time for a parole violation, she received a full pardon from Trump on his last day in office. That led to even more speculation. Some fans questioned whether Jay-Z had pulled strings behind the scenes, possibly trading political favors to help make that pardon happen. Nicki kept turning the heat up. She reposted an interview with Dee Marie Hadley, the estranged daughter of Desiree Perez. In that interview, Hadley accused Perez of having her unlawfully committed to a mental health facility under Florida's Baker Act. Nicki jumped on that story fast, saying it reminded her of her own swatting incidents, those fake police calls that sent officers rushing to her home over false emergencies. Nicki suggested that Roc Nation might have been using its power to damage her reputation, just like Hadley said her mother had done to her. She tweeted, asking, "Isn't it strange that Desiree Perez's own daughter says they kept filing false reports to get her locked up in a mental facility?" facility. Then she added another question. And isn't it wild how they tried to say Perez's black son-in-law was hurting her daughter just to get him falsely arrested? To Nicki, the similarities were too real to ignore. She felt the same kind of manipulation was happening to her, and she wasn't about to stay quiet. The accusations were piling up fast, and then Nicki dropped another bomb. She claimed JayZ got mad at her for refusing to hand over a beat she already had legal paperwork on. According to her, the track she worked on with The Weeknd for her Queen album was supposed to stay hers, but JayZ allegedly stepped in and said, "Nah, that beat's for Beyonce." Nicki claims she got slapped with a lawsuit worth hundreds of thousands over a track she did with Nas, a song that never even dropped. According to her, it all went down because of Jay-Z's jealousy, and she made it clear the smoke wasn't dying down anytime soon. Fans started asking the big question. If Nicki's just making things up, then why doesn't Roc Nation take her to court? She's been calling them out publicly for months, yet there's been total silence from their side. And people noticed. They were quick to back Megan Thee Stallion and even sue a blogger with barely any reach. So why not go after Nicki Minaj, one of the loudest voices in the game? That quiet response got fans talking. Usually, when big names don't sue, it either means they know they've got no real case, or maybe, just maybe, there's some truth behind what's being said. Nicki's also been stepping into the political spotlight lately, which makes her an even more unpredictable force in the industry. Her open support for Trump has already sparked major debate. She recently got into it with former CNN anchor Don Lemon, who questioned why LGBTQ people and African Americans would support her views. The back and forth got messy, and then things took an unexpected twist when Don Lemon ended up arrested on charges tied to conspiracy against religious freedom after a protest at a church. The drama surrounding Nicki just kept expanding, from music beefs to political chaos, and it felt like everyone was watching her next move. Don Lemon was eventually released after a judge questioned the entire case against him, but Nicki's fans were convinced she somehow had a hand in how everything played out. The internet lit up with theories, with some saying it was karma, others saying it was power moves behind the scenes. Once he got out, Don Lemon didn't waste time addressing the situation in an interview. He fired back, calling Nicki a hypocrite for criticizing him when she herself had once faced backlash from the Catholic Church over her 2012 Grammy performance. He brought up her past controversies and even went as far as suggesting that since she came to America as a kid, she might have never officially registered for citizenship under Trump's newer rules, saying she could end up facing the same immigration crackdown she supported. But Nicki, according to her fans, doesn't need to worry about any of that. She's got what she calls that gold card status, the kind of special treatment that makes her untouchable. And now things have gotten even more interesting. Elon Musk himself has jumped into the mix. He's publicly shown love to Nicki on X, even retweeting her post with American flag emojis. The richest man on earth teaming up online with one of the most powerful women in hip-hop, that's a combo that's got the entire industry buzzing. That kind of combo, Nicki and Elon Musk linking up online, is something the world just can't ignore. But while fans were busy losing their minds over that, the Breakfast Club host came through with what might have been the most balanced take on the entire situation. They said straight up, if someone owed them $200 million, they wouldn't be tweeting about it. They'd be in court, and they weren't wrong. They even joked that if Nicki ever took that battle to court, it'd be one of the biggest stories in entertainment, and they'd be front row to see how it all played out. The host also kept it real about some of Nicki's wilder claims. When she said Jay-Z never campaigned for Kamala Harris, they reminded everyone that he did heavily back Barack Obama. He even dropped a whole track for him. Plus, he publicly supported Hillary Clinton too. So the idea that Jay-Z never stood up for black political causes just doesn't hold water when you check the receipts. Then one of the hosts dropped a key point that hit hard. If you're gonna call someone out for not doing enough for the community, they said, you better be doing equal or more yourself. It was a statement that had everyone thinking twice about the bigger picture behind all this chaos. That's the real question, right? If someone says, you're not doing anything, the natural response is, okay, but what are you doing? The Breakfast Club host pointed out that for Nicki, this whole thing felt deeply personal. Part loyalty to Wayne, part frustration with the industry, and part anger over how she's been treated. But when you start throwing out heavy accusations like these, you need equally heavy proof to back them up. One of the biggest moments came when Nicki shared that 1996 photo supposedly showing Jay-Z with a teenage Aaliyah. The picture's been studied, analyzed, and debated from every angle online. According to multiple reports, Aaliyah turned 17 on January 16, 1996, so unless that photo was taken before her birthday, she would have been around 17, not 15 like Nicki's post suggested. Jay-Z, on the other hand, would have been about 26 or 27 at that time. Now, is it weird for a 26-year-old to be photographed with a 17-year-old? Most folks would probably say, yeah, that's a little wild. Dame Dash, who dated Aaliyah later on, has gone on record saying he was the one actually with her, and that while Jay-Z tried to get close, they never officially dated. Dame said, I was with Aaliyah first, but honestly, whether that makes things better or worse depends on how you see it. As for Beyonce, she's always said she met Jay-Z at 18 and that they started dating when she was 19, but some reports have claimed they met back in 1997, when she was closer to 16 and he was around 30. That timeline's been debated for years, and every time it resurfaces, the internet goes wild all over again. In past interviews, Beyonce said she and Jay-Z met through music, that at first it was all about mutual respect and creative chemistry. The small talk about working together eventually turned into something real. But while their story has been celebrated for years, Nicki Minaj has been sounding alarms about Jay-Z for over a decade. In an old sit-down, Nicki was asked a spicy question. Who's the most difficult person in the music industry? She laughed, saying she wanted to say it but couldn't because it would be too real. She literally pleaded the fifth. Then she teased that if she ever dropped those names, it would be explosive. She added that there were two men she considered infantile individuals and promised that one day she'd expose them both. Well, that day seems to have finally come. Nicki's no longer holding anything back, and the secrets, the drama, the receipts, everything's out in the open now, and she's moving full speed ahead. She even announced she's pressing pause on dropping new music until her contract gets renegotiated, claiming there's straight-up sabotage happening at Billboard. The queen of rap just declared war on the industry, and it looks like she's ready for a long fight. Nicki's now saying there's a RICO investigation underway, and according to her, it's about to blow the lid off everything. She's urging her fans to save every single receipt, screenshots, posts, messages, anything that could prove the censorship and suppression she's been talking about. She's even calling out journalists and podcasters by name, demanding they cover her story with the same energy they give to everyone else's scandals. Nicki also claimed her documentary got sabotaged because she spoke about the abuse she's faced, saying certain people didn't want those truths coming to light. She believes the industry has been actively stalling her projects, hoping she'd go broke and come crawling back for help. But she made it crystal clear, she's not breaking. She warned that the destruction that's coming for her enemies won't be a joke this time. Nicki said she's been telling them to leave her alone for years, but now, since they didn't listen, they're about to see exactly why they should have. They should have just sat there and taken their meds, she tweeted, dropping one of her boldest lines yet. Meanwhile, the rest of the industry's keeping suspiciously quiet. Jay-Z hasn't said a word, Beyonce hasn't responded, and Roc Nation, still no lawsuit, no press statement, nothing. Even with accusations this wild flying all over the internet, the blogs Nicki's been calling out, the ones she says are protecting Jay-Z, keep covering the story but always with a twist. The headlines sound neutral, but the tone always seems to downplay her claims. Even at the Grammys, where Jay-Z and Beyonce showed up like nothing was happening, the tension was thick. Despite the chatter, neither of them addressed anything Nicki's been posting online. Their silence spoke loud. Either they think responding would give her accusations more weight, or they're avoiding opening doors they'd rather keep sealed shut. Nicki's positioned herself as the ultimate truth teller, the one exposing what the industry wants hidden. She's made it clear that she's not afraid to burn bridges if it means getting her truth out. Whether people believe her or not, one thing's undeniable. She's got power. She can hijack the entire internet conversation with a single post, and her fans, millions strong, hang on her every word like gospel. At this point, the feud between Nicki Minaj and the music industry isn't dying down. It's heating up. What started as a few cryptic posts has turned into a full-blown war between one of the most influential artists alive and some of the biggest power players in entertainment. Nicki's promised story times, revelations, and exposures that'll shake things even harder. And if her track record tells us anything, she's not stopping until every last secret is out in the open and every name she's been holding back finally gets called out. The only question left now is, who's gonna be the next one caught in the crossfire, and what moves will they make to try and shut Nicki down? The story's still unfolding, and you know it's only getting crazier from here. If you're keeping up with all this drama and want to stay locked in as the truth keeps dropping, make sure you like this video, share it with your crew, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next update. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about it.